You ever find yourself liking Vin Diesel?
Have you ever been made fun of for being a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise?
How about Lifetime movies?
Do you like the band Nickelback? Ever heard of them?
How about Ghostbusters 2? That movie's a piece of shit.
Well, if you have, or you are, you should listen to the Second Shot Podcast.
Every Thursday on the Above Below Entertainment Podcast Network.
We defend you. We'll be there for you if you like one of these things or another thing that may not be so popular with the in crowd.
If it's weird, art's weird. Everything's dumb. I love it.
Listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or just go to our website on Audio Boom.
Internet. Brought to you by the Internet.
We have a very high retainer.
Everyone. You're obviously confused and aroused.
And where are we now? Do you have idiots on your planet?
It's me, Zoidberg, remember from high school?
Hello, you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 4, Episode 16, or Season 5, Episode 11 on Hulu, 300 Big Boys. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette,
How's it going?
Pete Woodward,
That's me.
and our guest, Josh Jesty.
I'm the guest.
The guest. The jest.
Welcome to the show.
Josh Jesty.
I was thinking about this as I was setting up the room for recording today. I mean, amongst your other talents and pleasant qualities, because you were a very talented songwriter and singer and guitar player and all these other things. But amongst the people that do that in this particular city, you have the most pleasantly alliterative name of anyone. I mean, like the only other person that even comes close on the name front, I think, might be like Alexis Antis, but it doesn't have the same kind of joie de vivre.
It doesn't hit quite like.
No.
I was touring around. What town was? I think I was in Ithaca, and I was at this diner years ago, and I had never thought about it really until this waitress came up to me, and she was one of those diner waitresses that has like the cigarette hanging out of their mouth the whole time, you know. And she like takes my credit card and just looks at it, and with the cigarette in her mouth, just goes, "Stage name." That's all she said to me. And then she walked off, and then she came back with the check, and it took me a second to figure out what she actually said. I'm like, what is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, but maybe even that's sort of inaccurate because, like, it's your actual name. You know, like sometimes it's Josh, sometimes it's Joshua. It's always followed by some non sequitur grouping of words that makes up your backing band.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just like it has a good feel.
Right now, we're going with it's Joshua Jesty in the darkest timeline, and I think it'll be that for I don't know, the next 3 years,
give or take.
give or take.
Yeah, it might not be that long, Josh.
That's what they keep saying, but I'm already at that point where
I just mean it might be truncated for everybody.
That's true.
Pleasant dreams.
Either way, it's still the darkest timeline.
It's been a while since I recorded, so I'm trying to get back in the game. But I think something we have frequently asked guests right at the top of the show is, what is your relationship to the program Futurama?
Yeah. I like the guests. They're like, no relationship.
Yeah,
they swiped left on it or whatever.
You know, honestly, some of those people have been some of our best guests.
That's true.
Yeah,
Brings a perspective when someone like almost barely knows it, and then they have to get to know it to kind of discuss it.
Well, then I'm gonna be a bad guest.
No, you can be a good guest and be a fan of this show.
No,
Knowledge is power.
I don't know that I was a fan though, but I remember watching the first episode, I think in like in the
90s.
Yeah, in the 90s. In Boston. I was at Berkeley School of Music, and we'd go down to like the TV lounge to watch The Simpsons, and then I think I saw the debut that night, you know.
Fancy.
Of Futurama.
Are any of those people famous now?
Not the ones who watch TV. The ones who, my friends who stayed in their rooms and practiced, they're doing pretty big things. I, however, along with all my friends who watch TV, not so much, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, who would have thought?
We prioritize things in a different way, and now.
So that's not TV's fault. That's just your prioritization. I mean,
But I made it maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, and then I was like, I'm going to go upstairs and pretend to practice.
there you go.
So it didn't resonate with me. It wasn't a hit out of the park for me right away. And then I remember when it came back on Adult Swim, that was kind of an era of my life where I was gigging a lot. So there were a lot of times where I'd come back to where I was living and I'd just turn on Adult Swim and they do the regular airing at like 11 or 12, but then it would air back up at like 3 in the morning because they loop the whole thing. So,
Right.
And I remember watching this episode I can't remember specifically, but I can just remember every time I was aware it was on, I would stay up and watch it.
Which is interesting given the ultimate resolution of this episode. It's almost like in parallel with it. But we can revisit that later, I think.
Yeah, but now that it's on the Hulus or it was on the Netflixes and then just switched over to the Hulus, I feel like, and it screwed me over because I couldn't figure out that they changed the season and the episode number.
That's been an ongoing issue for us. We just do production order.
Yeah.
That's why I've been trying to keep the listeners in the loop in my intro as to where they can find it. Because sometimes, like this one's season 4, episode 16, but also season 5, episode 11, whatever I said it was.
That's a pretty big spread.
It is. That's almost a full season's difference. So you're looking through several different seasons trying to find it. So yeah, that can be frustrating, but I think it gets a little bit more. I think this is the worst of it. I think once we get into the movies, it'll be pretty linear, and then the Comedy Central season, I think, is pretty much. I think it's the same.
That should be the same. And it was pretty much up till the 3rd season was all the same, I think.
No, there was a lot of jumping around. I think there's even jumping around in the 1st and 2nd season, when it was on Netflix at least.
The 4th season was the last one that was produced for Fox. Is that?
Yeah.
How it works?
Yeah, that's what we're wrapping up right now.
Yeah.
And then...
So I think
okay.
There are 2 episodes
after
of that
this
left.
one, yeah.
I remember your name has been on the spreadsheet for this episode for probably about
Long
4
time.
months.
I know.
So
Longer
you
than that.
requested it because whether it's a favorite episode is at least one that resonated with you.
No, it's been on for pretty much almost the entire podcast history.
Really?
Like I remember him asking me when you guys get to this episode, I want to do it. So it was always.
I appreciate your,
because two things. First, it's
your
my favorite
faith in us
episode,
that we would
and-
get this
yeah,
far.
Exactly. If you made it that far, then yeah.
And if not, no pressure. It's like, I'll commit to doing this thing in a year and a half. It's an hour and a half of my time. Fuck. 2 hours if you count watching the damn thing again. So I was trying to figure out the Jumbotron. This one seemed less racist than the last few, so we have that going for us. But was it just a bandaged up monkey?
It was a weasel.
It was called Flop Goes the Weasel.
Ooh.
The weasel tries to steal a mother hen's chicks and eggs and stuff like that.
Huh.
And then one of the chicks ends up hatching and thinks that's the weasel's his mother, but then gets beat up.
Is that what that is? That little black thing? I couldn't tell what it was.
So the chicken imprints on the
It looks
weasel.
like a little baby bear in
Yeah,
a diaper.
maybe.
All that
like
happens.
the baby
3
in the.
seconds or whatever?
Oh no!
No, it's not even. No, that's just the
it's like-
cartoon it's from.
Okay. All
I'm
I
just
wrote
gonna-
was pink thing in the TV.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this out there now because somebody tweeted us recently and was like, when you look at the production order and figure out how many episodes of Slurmcast are left. So like, hey, thank you for suggesting that you enjoy our show and are sad to see it end in another 60 episodes or so. But also, we need to figure out like follow-up content when we do run out of shit. Maybe what we should do is just watch all of the Jumbotron cartoons in full and do episodes on that. But with the added wrinkle of trying different cocktails of drugs to see if we can figure if it makes more sense or less sense.
There we go.
Or we could do like different drugs and watch them and see if it makes, because basically the animators for these cartoons clearly batshit out of their minds on red doodles or
They're
whatever
all
they
on
were
that
doing.
wacky tobacco.
Yeah, at least. Like, here's the jazz band playing around the writers and like.
I mean, also like
Go get the belt and let's shoot up.
in the 40s when these cartoons come out, there was still like cocaine and Coca-Cola, right?
Tons
Or,
of heroin.
Oh yeah,
like
Tons
and
of
heroin
heroin.
was was
Heroin
prescribed
was just
as a
medicine.
Yeah.
jazz cigarettes all over the place.
Macaroni and cheese was LSD.
Yeah, easy. They were still synthesizing it in the Kraft Foods labs.
That's why they think they all walked 3 miles to and from school uphill.
I mean, who's to say that they didn't? I mean, because I'm not going to get into it. I've thought about that kind of statement a lot in the past, and I've figured out a solution for it.
What is it that the school is at the bottom of the hill, so they have to walk up?
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, if you want to go that route, the school's in sort of a valley, and you can walk down the road one way and then walk back up and then walk around the rim of the valley to get home.
Okay. Or they were just in the Depression, so everything was
Sad
Shitty.
and difficult.
sad and down. Yeah.
Hey, just like today.
Right. Overall, though, once we get past the floppy weasel, I really enjoyed this episode a lot. Mm-hmm. Even for being kind of a non-canon, like just weirdo standalone.
Yeah. I watched it a couple times. I usually watch these episodes twice, like once the day before and then once before I show up here, take a couple different rounds of notes. But I watched it like 3 times in a row today alone.
I'm jealous of your free time and your ambition.
Well, so like I have a half-hour lunch at work and I pretty much just hide in a corner and eat soup and watch Futurama. So
You're going to do the same thing like when you're 87 years old, though.
I don't know if I'd call that free time as much as it's like get away from everyone. I don't want to talk to anyone time. And if I'm doing something like watching something on my phone, people will leave me alone. But if I'm just sitting there like eating, people will come up and talk to me.
Will the
start a conversation.
swearing commentary guy next to you just like go off or?
I mean, that's like all day, every day. And sometimes like I'll just feel like listening to him and I'll take out my headphones at my desk and kind of listen to him going like, oh, fuck, this goddamn bullshit, man. Like while he's typing.
That's awful.
Yeah. But, you know.
Do you have like a special view closet that you can go hide in?
I mean, there are like rooms where you're supposed to go if you need to have like a confidential conversation or if you're working on a special project. Like there are rooms that we can go to on different floors
But otherwise,
to like
it's
work
an
in private.
open office plan.
A cubicle, yeah.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Bad scene.
I have the option, but I don't do that.
I feel like this. I think the reason I enjoyed it so much is, in some ways, this brought to mind 22 short films about Springfield.
Yes.
Which is probably the last Simpsons episode I had strong feelings about, positive feelings, going all the way back to
there
season
are others,
8.
but
The newer, the last couple seasons have not been all that bad.
well, except for this one.
Which has been fucking
So if you
terrible.
want to hear my
apparently,
opinion
right?
on that, go listen to Second Shot podcast with our friends Devin Newsom and George Dunn.
Fair enough. Okay.
And
all right.
you can hear my episode on The Simpsons. And I regret that episode now, having watched this particular season that's airing right now. I'm like, nope.
Michelle's
Take it back.
she's a latter season apologist. I gave up in
am.
the year 2000.
There are some really great episodes. There are a handful of really great episodes. Some of the series in itself, some of their most higher rated episodes are the later season episodes.
You don't have
They're
60
just few
episodes
and far
left because
behind-
you can do
far
the
between.
Simpsons Futurama crossover episode, right?
Oh, that's one I didn't even think about.
There's extra content
We could
for
try.
you.
That's not a great episode. I think that is actually one of the lowest rated episodes of The Simpsons.
And probably Futurama.
And probably Futurama.
We'll just start reading the comic books and talking about all those stories.
we could just do them as
panel.
audio plays.
Yeah.
You can sing blues songs a la
See, I can do
Katie
Leela
Seagal.
and I can do Amy, and that's or maybe Hattie McDougal. Why does nobody visit me in my home? No, that's not even great.
We have time to prepare.
I'll work on it.
I mean, so it started out pretty strong with Zap and his forces attacking the spiders.
This weekend, it starts with the old film.
Yeah.
The old film gimmick, This Week in the Universe.
I wish they would still use that on the news.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd just like to see people boxing full-size spiders.
Tarantulan 6 was the planet that those Spidarians were on.
But Zap, being the oblivious asshole that he is, squashes Kif when he just kind of plops down in his little.
Kif's like
motorcade
kicking
car.
ass and
Yeah. But the spoils of war being $1 trillion in silken treasure, like it got me thinking about. Do you think like there are any natural fibers in the year 3002, or is it all like rayon, polyester, space cotton, or whatever?
I'm sure there are plenty of planets that trade has opened up and man-made like polyester rayon type stuff isn't probably not just like the only thing they have. Like I'm sure there are other like not real
I mean, because the thing that
natural resources.
nobody talks about this, because silk is considered a very fine material, but it's basically coming out of a spider's butt.
Right.
Yeah, or it's the milk of an almond,
Well,
What?
silk?
right? Isn't that what's... No, it's
Oh.
the milk of a
That's-
soybean.
Oh my
apologies.
God! You
Soy
just
milk, silk. I get it.
shit. you totally confused
Why is
me
it coconut milk called kilk?
Milk.
there. Because it's
And
an
why is
word.
almond milk called elk? Elk.
It's
Cashew milk, kashilk.
all of those are incredibly awkward to say. That's why.
Milk you.
Because, like, I mean, you know, you could just. Is Sir Bananas made out of monkeys or bananas or milk or what? And how come that's the only carton in the whole dairy section? This sounds like a terrible hack joke, but I just feel like running with it. Like, it's the only one with an honorary title of Sir Bananas.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's
What
like
is Sir Bananas?
Wrong audience, I guess.
it's chocolate and or chocolate and banana and or banana chocolate flavored milk that you buy in a carton at the grocery store.
Like
That sounds
like
horrible.
I've never seen that.
Like, I mean, basically like
pre
pre-mixed quick, you know, like the strawberry quick or whatever, but like banana or chocolate and banana flavors. And it's Sir Bananas is the monkey who is apparently royalty or a knight or some
He's
shit.
a knight. He's not. He doesn't have to be royalty. He's just
I'm just
knighted.
look. He's got some kind of honorary title that is not recognized in the United States. So for it to even make it onto the box, it's a big deal. It's just I'm sorry.
I feel like
you can edit that all
has
out.
not been marketed to me.
Yeah.
He won't.
It's not marketed to me either. It's marketed to my kid.
Well,
Maybe that's why I've never seen it because I don't
why I
specifically
get it.
go looking for kid food.
It's possible. I mean, you're getting up at like 5 a.m. to go to the gym now.
Now
so
I
like,
am. That's like a new thing.
That's disgusting.
I
This
don't
is
like
a
it.
bad.
I got a personal trainer.
Ooh.
I'm doing that twice a week. I'm counting calories.
what a
Eating
good gig,
vegan
though.
vegan shit.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
I've made some good recipes, Pete. I'll share them.
That's fine.
I
them
ate
off
3
my-
candy bars yesterday.
I made some good recipes too.
I'm not even jealous. I miss like potato chips
Yep.
and French fries.
Yep.
French fries are my downfall. I'll go through a bag of frozen fries like a week.
I like
won't
how
even
far
heat
we've
'em up.
gone off the rails already, but just to put a button on this, I've done like crazy diets that work really well before. Like you know, Tim Ferriss is a lunatic, but if you follow the 4-hour body, you will lose a shit ton of weight in a very short time. However, you start to have sexual feelings towards like loaves of bread when you see you're just like, oh my God, that's the just hottest thing I've ever seen is that French baguette. Yeah, it's a bad thing. So now, I mean,
I feel that way now, and I will eat any bread I see.
yeah.
love-
I mean, that's the thing. It's like we're wired to
Let's
just
get
be
some
like,
bread now.
Little behind the curtains to the audience is tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So I don't know. I might have to eat some snacks. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm single, so
To
it's not
love
like I'm
yourself.
gonna get any chocolate or bullshit. But at work, people bring in fucking cupcakes and whatever, having a sweet day.
Do you do like the fake thing where you'll just like turn your head and pretend to eat it and like shove it behind your face?
I think you should just go to the store and get one of those long French baguettes, dim your lights, put on some music, and just eat it.
I'm not there yet.
You will be.
I'm not there yet.
But like anyway, so the Voodoo Economists I really liked. Also because of the fact they're all like weird, dumb white guys, but with the war paint and the other stuff on. Because that's like, do they even talk about voodoo economics anymore? Or is that just purely like a Reagan era thing? Like it's basically like a ministry sample, right?
Yeah, but this whole episode was based off the they were making fun of the Bush era, the W. Bush era tax rebate. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I was alive for that.
Yeah, we got that sweet.
I was too young.
You were too. You didn't reap the benefits.
Your parents probably spent it on cigarettes and booze like I did.
Probably not cigarettes, but maybe a little bit of booze. I don't know. That's probably musical equipment and horses.
A guitar for a horse.
Hey, I never thought of that.
A guitar and
30
a hoof.
years down the
That was the
drain.
only piece you'd get for $300. Yeah, I mean, it just so like 300 buckaroos and a tricky dick fun bill.
Yeah,
like have they mentioned the Nixon bucks before? I can't remember if that or is this where it generates from?
This is where it's from.
Yeah.
Is it?
But they're in the Worlds of Tomorrow. They're called Nixon bucks, but in this they're called Tricky Dicks
Fun bucks.
Fun bucks.
I mean, that is the one thing that disappointed me about this episode because before I watched it, judging from the title, I thought it was going to like literally involve 300 big boys, and I didn't know what big boys were.
Like a Frisch's big boy,
or just like I mean that could have been one is like because they showed one in old New York. There's a restaurant. There's some kind of mutant big boy, but like
the lard lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was imagining something, some kind of army of sort of doofusy, Lenny types from Of Mice and Men that were, foolish but dangerous, or simple but dangerous, maybe is a better way to do that. And there'd be 300 of them, and just think of the hijinks. And instead, it's just like,
No, it's dollars.
yeah, which is sort of a letdown. But they really they brought it back. I mean,
yeah. This is still from the era where you didn't necessarily know the episode's name. You know,
Right.
when
Well,
it
that's
aired.
true.
It's not the Hulu thing where you're like, oh, what? There's a title.
because they didn't even show it. The tagline that they run at the beginning generally doesn't have anything to do with
just
it.
said voted best.
Voted best.
Which is
You
my
and I
favorite.
have both been voted best before, Josh. See where that got us.
My favorite. I saw there's like a local diner that had a sign that said "Now serving hot." And I thought of that the second I saw voted best, and I was like, "Oh,
And they
I just want to
Hot
go in
what?
there."
hot bread.
And they're
Long hot
They're
baguettes.
24 hours. I won't say their names, so maybe you can get some of that sweet advertising revenue. But
It's
show 'em.
probably one of those hot corned beef signs, but it makes you wonder what happened to the. You're just like, well, we're out of brisket. Rip.
yeah, it's just hot. We're still serving hot. The grill's on.
This sign's bullshit until St. Patrick's Day.
It's cold outside, right? We're serving hot. Just come in.
I tried to think about what. So Bender gets excited. He's like, should I spend the money on one $300 hooker or 300 $1 hookers? And that got me thinking, number one, what would the difference in not necessarily quality, but outcome be between one $300 hooker or 300 $1 hookers?
Did you say hooker bots?
Yes.
We're not talking people here.
Well, but I guess this is the second part of the question. Like, if you were a robot, like, what would the substantive difference be between a $1 hooker bot and a $300 hooker bot? I think the latter choice is probably the better if you're in the robot hooker business.
Wait, the latter. Wait, what's the latter choice?
The 300 $1 hooker bots.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe.
But 300 is a lot of anything. Especially
Even
like
not baguettes,
human-sized robots and some bigger.
Tell that
Maybe
when
a
your
few
personal
larger.
trainer's like 300 squats, Michelle, and
That's-
see what the answer is. I don't care.
That's too much.
He doesn't choose either of those anyways.
No, he doesn't. But just the choice I mean, the philosophical aspect of it.
Yeah, but it just becomes one of those dirty throwaway lines to establish that Bender's just a no good. Good.
And Scruffy with the $300 haircut,
Well,
which
Scruffy's gonna get him one
was,
of those
you know, so
$300
It's his moment to
haircuts.
shine.
This one's
making
lost
fun
its
of the,
pizzazz.
which when he took it off, it looks like a chef's hat. From behind
His hair
anyway,
was
like it
Silly.
stops.
That's like not what you expect Scruffy's hair to look like underneath
no,
that hat
I mean
at
it's
all.
almost like that Peaky Blinders do, where it's just like completely shaved up to the hat line, and then there's just a weird flop on it.
It's almost like '90s boy band hair, where it's like a,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a mushroom, like and it like
Oh, who was-
just like the
there was
little
a
split in the bob.
is it a Backstreet Boy or an NSYNC that had that exact haircut?
Both,
Probably both.
You think?
Or like
I don't
you could
know the
name so many
difference.
teen heartthrobs in the
yeah. JTT.
I'm trying to pull a name from memory, so I'm
I'm
gonna
pretty
see if I can do
sure
this.
You're probably
Nick
talking
Carter
about Nick
had
Carter.
that exact
No,
same haircut.
nope.
Lance Bass.
Nope.
He was spiky.
Did it have to have color in it? Is that what you're saying? Like, because isn't Scruffy's pink or purple?
This
or
guy.
something?
Oh, that's
Now he's got beads.
Chris Kirkpatrick, because it says it right there.
Yeah.
I only know that people because it said it right underneath the Google image.
Yeah. Well, so wait, which one was he in?
That was an NSYNCman.
Okay. Is that the official way to say that?
I don't know.
Apparently, there's a BuzzFeed article about why he's the most underrated boy band member ever. Whatever.
Who cares?
Let's just read that instead.
So Zoidberg getting the $300 is literally the happiest we've seen him in 70 episodes of watching this show.
I'm rich.
He can't contain
That's like
himself.
so much money for Zoidberg.
That's a
He
lot of
lives in
money
a
for me,
fucking
I'll be
dumpster.
honest.
Yeah,
If
for
I
me
was
too.
given $300,
and you don't live in a dumpster,
right? I would be like,
mean-
holy shit.
Or do you?
It's in a manner of speaking. But the Fry just making the decisive decision. He's like, I could buy 100 cups of coffee. And then that's like the most focused he's ever been. I think it's the only time in the history of the show he's completed.
He didn't even come up with it. That was Amy said, like, God, $300. What's that? Like 100 cups of coffee? Like, she is so not impressed with her $300.
I'm
What's
slightly
that? Like,
richer.
100 cups of coffee? And he goes, that's it. I'm going to buy 100 cups of coffee.
You know what they didn't have in the coffee machine anymore? Chunky chicken
Chunky
style
chicken
coffee.
There's a deleted scene when Fry puts the first into the coffee machine when the dollar or the bill comes back out and it drops down to $2.97.
Yeah.
It says, Richard Nixon says, spending this money counts as a vote for next term for me or something like that. And he goes, fair enough. And just drinks the coffee.
It's I thought that was a neat touch. I mean, because it's basically like a Metro card or something.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
You just zip it through, and then you get the new amount posted on
I
it.
wish real money was like that.
I've never even seen
That would
real
be
money
cool.
in the last like 3 years. I don't
Oh,
know what
really?
it looks like. It's just all electronic. I mean, it's
Look at you, Mr. Bank Account.
the whole thing is just like made up numbers in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in the internet.
And don't get me wrong, I really like money. Like comfort is fantastic. I don't want to shit on money as of itself. It's a tool. It can make things good. It can make things bad. Great to have it. Kind of shitty when you don't, but not the be all end all of everything. But I went out to, this was several years ago. I was working at a conference, giving a presentation with a guy who owned a company. Like I was giving a presentation on his software, and he took us all out to dinner. And we got into this conversation because the market tanked or something at this point. And I made some comment because at this point, like I was horribly in debt and worked for a school. So I made $0 and was just like, fuck this. It's like, you know what? I mean, really all of this stuff is made up. They could literally like zap it and start everything over from scratch tomorrow. And he did not like that idea and never spoke to me again.
Whoa.
Like that just the fact that I was just like, yeah, it's all made up. It is. It's just like if you take out a loan, it's not like that money comes from somewhere. A bank, you work in this business, you know, you're just adding zeros after someone's balance and all of a sudden they've got more money. You literally create it out of nowhere.
I don't work in a branch.
No,
so
I
I don't
understand.
think that's how it works. But
That's kind of how it works. I don't know. They don't have to go like mine the dollars somewhere. It's not Bitcoin. They just go.
the government makes it.
Yeah, it's all made up.
Yeah.
It is a shared delusion that lets you buy candy bars.
That's why Bitcoin,
And
people are
vegan
getting
recipes.
into Bitcoin and like, I don't.
Because that's all made up, right?
That's all made up too.
It's all made up, but it's based around like the fact that it is a finite resource, which is what makes it more or less valuable. But it's still just made up.
Why is it a finite resource?
Because the amount of Bitcoin that's in circulation at any given time depends on the amount of Bitcoin that's actually been mined and registered in the registry blocks. I'm probably
How do you
explaining
mine
this
it?
badly. You hijack a bunch of computers and use the processing power to decrypt weird codes.
It's really, it's still, it's nothing. Like
Yeah,
you're
it's just
still
stupid. It's all a delusion.
you're assigning value to an idea. And then
Yeah.
if you have two ideas, that equals $16,000.
Yeah.
If your Bitcoin is worth, I don't know.
This is
It's all fake. It's Fight Club. That's
Here's
what
a-
Fight Club's about.
it makes me want to punch something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people get punched all the time for their money. It's called mugging.
Yeah, I know.
Happened
Or
to me
boxing.
But
once.
that's not what I mean.
Well,
I got mugged once in
mean-
Chicago. It was not fun.
No. It's not.
I did chase the guy, which was probably dumb, but I
That
was
was
like
dumb
I was like
too.
19 and I had like I was carrying art. I had a tube with like one of my art projects in it. I had my big giant portfolio and then something I'd been working on that was rolled up in like a plastic tube. The guy took my money and I chased him. Don't know why. Like it was just one of those like weird instinctual
Because you probably had
things.
$4 and you
Exactly.
took the last $4.
And he took my I had like I think he ended up getting $50 from me. Took my wallet out of my hand is what he did. So I chased him and I like whacked him right in the head with my art tube as he was getting into a car. There was a woman who was in the driver's seat that had like the door open. Like this was
Yeah.
planned. Like totally planned.
Crime of opportunity.
Yeah, so I chased the dude, got him on the head, and the woman who was in the car was like, "God damn!" and then just drives off, like looks at me in the face and goes, "God damn!" Like, you tried, but he got in. And then he's like halfway in the car door, and she's driving away in downtown Detroit. And that's the time that I got mugged.
That's beautiful. Like I almost want to. I don't necessarily want to know why, but I kind of want to know why you were just carrying art around the.
I just
downtown
gotten off the
Chicago.
bus.
that's where you
So
take
you
art.
you took art on the bus? Like, was it
Yeah.
a field
It
trip
wanted
for
to
your
go
art?
for
No,
a
I was
bus ride.
I was going to visit my ex-boyfriend who went to college at Lake Forest, and he was drunk and missed the train to pick me up like on time
Wait,
for
was
when
he
my
your
bus
ex-boyfriend at that point, or
No,
he's your
he was.
ex-boyfriend now?
He's my ex-boyfriend. He's been my ex-boyfriend
Well, yeah,
for 10
yeah.
years. He was my high school boyfriend, and it was like right after college started.
Yeah.
So I took the bus to Chicago. He was drunk and missed the train. He couldn't catch the next one for like an hour. So I'm sitting in downtown Chicago by myself
With art.
literally all of my stuff because I was an art student and I had homework. Like I was just there with my homework.
That's youth. They carry art. You know.
It's like the saddest hobo. You got an easel and a bindle full of charcoals, like a roll of canvas.
And I was buying something like
Yeah.
I was in Union Station and was buying something. I was talked to by several homeless people who tried to sell me postcards and
I'll make my own postcards.
give me $20. Here's this postcard of Chicago. Like you could when you're at the bus station holding a bunch of bags, like people know you're not from there. Target. I was at Target.
Oh God.
Then I broke up with that guy like immediately after I got home.
Yeah, well,
From that trip.
Yeah, because you would have had to find somewhere to stay if you did it right when you got there.
One of his friends opened up a Smirnoff in the backseat of the cab. We got kicked out of the cab that we were in because she was a fucking idiot.
And then you had to carry your art all over again.
So-
I just, you have so many interesting stories about being an art student. They're all ridiculous. The thing
Ask
about
anyone who ever went to any sort of art school. And
I know
we
plenty
all
of people who
have
went to art
stories.
School. Yeah, you're a special sort. You art school kids. I know we got to talk about the damn show, and it was a good episode. We usually only do this when it's a shitty one.
No, it's a very good episode.
But the money is something that. So I read this book once. And it's like one of the few books I've ever read that has completely blown my fucking mind, just conceptually. And it's called
Twilight.
It's called
50 Shades of
Dear God, are you there? It's
Potter.
me, Margaret.
It's called Present Shock. It's by this guy named Douglas Rushkoff. And it is a very interesting read. It's sort of about how to conceptualize our current existence and how we're basically just getting like browbeaten into submission by too much stimulus and stuff. But the one aspect of this book that just was super interesting is that money is actually compressed time, because you work your work week and receive the money, and that's basically the exchange for the time that you exerted into that. And the more money you have, the more time you have for leisure and doing things that you want to do, because you can pay other people with compressed time to do the tasks that would take you more time to do, like clean your house or do your laundry or cook for you or whatever.
Makes sense.
And it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and by the end of it, it's like you're basically swallowing your own fist because you're jabbering like an idiot. But highly recommended if you. I don't know. It's one of the, like. There's probably 4 books I've read in the last 10 years. There's like fuck, and that's one of them. So anyway,
Well, another quick thing since we're way off topic.
oh
anyway.
yeah.
Another reason we can know money doesn't exist is when my father
Jesus
passed away.
didn't invent it.
Yeah, when my father passed away, he had a credit card under his name that had X amount of debt, and they were just like, okay, well, it's now 0. It's not like everyone was like, come on, let's get the town together and raise that money.
They don't even do that anymore.
Yeah,
though.
you
Now it's just
it's
like
not legal to collect. I used to be a debt collector. It's not legal to collect debt from someone who doesn't owe it. So if the person whose debt that was died, like, oops,
Yeah.
there it goes.
all I have to do
Hot
is
tip.
die.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Now, what sucks is when you're a cosigner and someone dies, and then maybe you didn't spend that money, maybe you did, but guess what? You got to pay it all back if you're still alive.
Yeah, I know how that is.
It really
so
sucks.
Flush with Silken Treasure and 300 Big Boys, Zap invites Leela and her oddball coworkers to the reception to honor these new treasures. He has his rented medal, which is that's in keeping with his character, right? Like he wouldn't even buy the medal; he'd just rent it to look important for a minute.
Yeah, this is the voice call, right? Or the visual call?
Yeah. And
I don't even think he got a medal. I think he just rented
He
a
rented
medal.
it with his
Yeah.
$300.
That's what Kip
Yeah.
said. He's like, he rented it.
I like when he goes to Leela, are you there? And she goes, no. Why answer?
I only noted that he ends the phone call by saying smooches.
Then he
Smooches. It's a good sign off. We should try it more often.
I want your next gig. Can you please end every song like that?
No, smooches.
Smooches.
I didn't necessarily understand. Is the 99-cent store turning into $299? 99-cent store just supposed to be like price gouging?
Yes.
Yeah. Because everyone's $300 richer.
So now it's whatever. I mean, it's basically what Target is anyway. It's like you walk in there and all of a sudden your wallet is light as fuck.
I just want to step back to Scruffy because he's the ultimate in Futurama characters for me.
Really?
Well, yeah. He's man of mystery, and yet,
Dependable.
Dependable. He says man of few words.
Enjoys pornography.
Exactly. Didn't he die in one episode or something? Isn't it implied?
Not yet.
I don't know. Anyway, he's of all the characters of this episode, I think he's the only one that comes out on top. Really?
Because he
You
gets that hair.
think?
He gets his hair
Yeah,
done.
because he gets his hair did.
I think you're
He's a
absolutely
Simple man, satisfied mind.
the
Amy does get that shitty talking tattoo.
I think there's one crew member who clearly comes out way the fuck on top.
Fry.
Yeah, so that's 2. That's 2 at least. Because Scruffy's new hair. Actually, did you watch that Stand Up for Drummers special on Netflix, the Fred Armisen thing yet? So I watched it last night. It's pretty funny. It's fine, but like the audience is full of like famous drummers, like Mike Borden from Faith No More is in there, and Clem Burke from Blondie, and Trey Cool, and Jay Mascis is sitting there. I mean, it's just like the audience is full of like famous drummers, but. He brings Trey Cool up on stage at one point, and Trey's hair in that video is basically the same as Scruffy's when he gets the $300 haircut. It's like this weird shaved upside down mullet spiked up on top, and it's bright blue. They're like, perfect. This is very timely for this episode. This has the crack mansion in it, which I've been wondering about for the 6 months I've been playing Worlds of Tomorrow. Like that finally came up.
Prepare Sir's crack pipe?
I mean,
Make it warmed for you.
this is going to sound horribly insensitive and ignorant, but do people still really smoke crack, or is that sort of
sure.
passe?
I'm sure. Well, I think like meth is probably cheaper nowadays.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. I don't do crack or meth.
just heroin.
I don't do any drugs, Pete. They're illegal.
Depends on where you are. Get bent, Jeff Sessions. Also, the talking tattoo. Have they had the talking tattoos before?
No.
Because they referenced the talking tattoos that she already had on her butt,
Yeah.
which would be disconcerting in and of itself. But do you think, has anybody at the shop ever done a talking tattoo?
Well, actually, there's this app that somebody created that you can get like a waveform tattooed on you, and then all it does is this app uploads the sound file from it. You have to like pay a subscription and everything. So then you can use this app to like put it onto a waveform that somebody got tattooed, and it'll play the sound of
like
it.
here's my dead grandma.
But all it is just a database of
Audio
recorded
files.
sounds and images, and
I feel
then
like they could probably create an app like Snapchat if you had a tattoo with a face. You could just scan it with the face
God
recognition
damn it.
software.
$1 million idea.
Patent pending. Make your
Jesus.
tattoos talk. It's also an episode of X-Files where tattoos not necessarily talking, but
New episode or old
Old,
episode?
old,
okay.
old.
On Fantasy Island, I'm pretty sure the tattoo talks. Right?
Yeah.
He only said the plane.
He often indicated when the aviation was taking place.
Which had they incorporated that into, like, if Amy had gotten a tattoo of Hervé Villachez and all it said was the plane, that would have been some next level shit that I would have expected.
Tattoo of a
future.
tattoo?
Yes. Yeah. Or the two Russian fake lesbian girls that were pop singers back in the 90s.
Oh, tattoo.
Either one would have been fine. But the Talking Devil was fine, and surprisingly looked like Coop artwork too. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it was very reminiscent of.
Oh, yeah. I thought the talking tattoo was stupid.
yeah, it was. Bad jokes.
You don't
thought it
think
was
it would
not
be
funny.
good?
I didn't think that part was funny.
He makes a
talking
joke that
about-
I didn't understand, which was when they were on that paddle plane or whatever, the pedal plane.
Yeah.
Tattoo calls Kiff. What does he call him? Gordon Gecko. He says, "Hey, Gordon Gecko, I cost as much as this whole crummy date." Like, what is that? Like, who's
Gordon Gecko
Gordon
from
Gecko. I
Wall
don't-
Street?
Yeah,
From
it's
the
Michael
movie Wall
Douglas's
Street.
character in the
Never
movie Wall
seen it.
Street. But
So
Kiff is a lizard
yeah.
man.
So that makes sense. That
Wordplay.
just one of those jokes that
Yeah.
I'm not old enough to get, I guess, or maybe I've never seen Wall Street.
Yeah.
Have no inclination to do
you
so.
know.
Maybe I would have seen it had I watched this.
I'm surprised you didn't watch it in art
As an
school so you could
adult.
do like a scathing commentary on capitalism
No,
and
I was
greed.
too busy wrapping myself in aluminum foil.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, just
sounds
sort of
like
the other
the same
side of that
thing,
coin.
really.
It was, I mean, you can go back and listen to the episode where she describes that because it's pretty ingenious and great. Wound up with a performance art project of calling it. You basically started the Me Too movement
Oh yeah, it was a long time ago.
many years ago.
Guys sucked.
How does a watch get powered by love?
You have to wind it too.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
not.
I'm sure, like, I'm not going to take it to the gross place it needs to go, but, you know, when you make one of those potato batteries or whatever, it's basically using a chemical solution differential between the solution, you know, the salt and the solution. I already took it too far. I mean, it's probably possible, but you can wind it too.
Okay.
This also had Hacking Jack's Fine Smokables. I've had the place in Worlds of Tomorrow for several months, but I didn't is it from this episode or have they referenced it before? I couldn't
Believe it is
remember.
from this episode.
I
The world opens up in this episode.
There's a
this
couple
season,
of
there's
of
so many
lines
references
in
just
this
from
that
this
are
season.
a couple lines in this episode are character lines in the game too.
Yeah,
I've been
it's-
noticing that a lot lately. A lot of season 4.
A lot of
of
season
them.
4. Robot X1.
Yeah, one of the what's his name, Smitty. his like main character, like when you tap on him in the game, one of his lines.
Do you think
is
it's
in this
just
episode?
because like this is where like all the main characters and everything, and now it's more just world building with the cartoon. So
There's been
this
other
is where,
stuff.
and I think this is more the like when people think about Futurama or whatever, like before it was canceled. Think about this season more so than anything else because this is kind of like
A lot of the heavy hitters are in this season, like the Jurassic Bark and the Sting, and we've done some good ones.
But in this one, they talk about Dutch butts.
That's the note I had too.
Fine Zubins, which they've had before. But the I was can we show of hands, don't feel offended or left out. Because I'm just testing something here. Mm-hmm. Did you understand the reference to the Royal Kooparillos?
I noted to ask you.
no,
I don't.
I did not.
I don't get it.
I don't
know it.
It was C. Everett Koop, who was the Surgeon General in the 80s and early 90s, who was like, smoking will fucking kill you. Don't smoke. And so now there's this future cigar brand that's like referencing him. He's like any guy who has a chin strap beard, whether he's some sort of street thug miscreant or an Amish gentleman or some sort of professional, it never looks good. It's a bad look. And he wore that shit proudly, like the whole full-on Abraham Lincoln deal. And that was his thing. Like he was, I think he was a Surgeon General before Jocelyn Elders said everybody should masturbate and then got fired. And then it was somebody
You're talking
else
about
after
C.
that.
Thomas Howell?
No, he was Soul Man.
Oh, okay.
But Le Grand Cigar, which that
Queen
was
Elizabeth rolled it on the
her wild on one of her wild days.
on the what was it, the one page of the Constitution?
First-
Isn't the
original
Constitution only one
Constitution.
page in and of itself?
Constitution?
Yeah.
Or what was it?
No
What's
way.
the Constitution?
It can't be one page.
Well, it's
There's
not
a lot
anymore,
in
but
it.
originally
It was like one big page that's like this big.
I mean, it's like
I think the Declaration of Independence was one page.
no,
maybe.
the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is probably one long ass page scroll.
Okay,
of whatever.
that part of it.
Yeah. But all the amendments and stuff, they had to like
Maybe.
staple some shit on or get like paper clips. I'm sure there's like 20 of them now. That's a lot of amendments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't have time to write all those up front, so
No.
yeah, get it done in one page.
No, they
Get to the pizza party.
They
you know?
can't even decide that ones that were written like 200 and some years ago are fucking ridiculous now, but much less tacking new stuff on at the end. Like, some of them are probably written on like old McDonald's wrappers and stuff. They're just like, this seems like a good idea now. And if they aren't yet, they will be.
Oh, wait, and also at the end of doesn't it go into something about the mushroom wars that we don't get to hear about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories that we get to not hear about, or at least
It was
at least a
buried with
couple.
George Burns until grave robbing space mushrooms. Well, you know the rest. But what happened?
Well, but then to do the, he's like, can I buy that for $300? Nope. I'll get these $300 burglar tools. Like, perfect. Because, I mean,
What time do you close?
Yeah.
By the way,
that's good. Were the bamboo bougie boots,
Bamboo
boogie boots?
Yes.
Were those a reference to anything else, or was it just some ridiculous thing for Hermes to blow his check on?
like,
Yeah.
I think it's just a joke that they're like space boots, like
Made out of
You know those
bamboo?
because they're Jamaican, so it's like
Oh.
I don't know.
And the fact that Dwight's all disappointed, he's like, I don't want to have fun. I want to invest that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a Hermes.
Boring, but prudently invested.
Like Hermes and who else did I note? Zoidberg and Professor. Like they get $300 and they like try to change who they are as people. Like a small sum of money makes them try to change.
Well, for Zoidberg, it's such a low bar.
I know.
I mean, like, I think it was just the last episode where he's just like, the greatest day of my life was finding a box with a piece of pepperoni stuck to the top of it. So $300. But then, the whole bait and switch with Zoidberg ultimately resolving as it does in the end. Beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And Professor Farnsworth was just tired of
Being
cleaning
old.
out his
Wrinkles
wrinkles.
every day. I certainly am.
But then it turns into a weird like love story thing there, you know. And
What's weird?
maybe they
Why do you
learned
have to
a
be ageist, Josh?
I'm not age. I'm just
Old
saying,
people need love too, even if they're
decides
pretending to be
change
young.
Who he is inherently.
The
Hermes
entire
tries to-
Botox industry is based on that.
he tries to push away. Hermes tries to push away his little his workmanship or whatever.
Yeah.
And just chill out with his bamboo boogie boots.
And his son. He's trying to
Yeah, I
spend
don't-
quality time with his son.
And I don't think anyone actually doesn't come out on top.
Yeah.
Even though, like,
They almost die, all of them?
all of them in the end, like, everything ends positively for every single character in this episode.
Yeah, but
Like-
some of them, I don't know if they really learn. Like, not too many of them learn.
Oh, they
much.
never learn
They
anything.
never learn anything, but
Except
like,
Mushu, he probably is really sick.
well, I guess.
Roseanne Barr comes out on top because she got
world of
some
fat.
money.
This is Roseanne's World of Facts.
Just the fact that the woman at the stem cell clinic is just like revolted by the professor just slathering
Yeah.
it on his
The
face.
noises, like off screen.
But it worked.
Yeah, Dwight makes a very aggressive claim as they're walking away on the boogie boots. He just yells, I wish I had two mommies.
mommies.
You know why? Because if he had two mothers, neither of them would spend $300 on some ridiculous shit like that. They'd probably spend it on horses.
It's just I just never
Barbados
thought
Slim.
to yell that when I was upset at somebody, you know? Like a family member.
Well, you
I
could.
wish
I
I,
mean,
had two mommies.
I wish I had two mommies.
I should try it sometime.
my daughter, she doesn't say it in those words, but she
means it.
basically means it every time she opens her mouth at me. She's just like, just the worst. And that's what I live with. So Leela's very we're skipping. I'm sorry. I didn't get that the Diamonds Are Forever going out of business sale. Was that just supposed to be like it's forever and it's closing?
Yep, yep.
That was that was a joke. I didn't know if it was something else, but like this is the start of Zoidberg's disillusionment with being rich. Where he's like, "You're trying to give me shiny pebbles. What's this garbage?" And then like the ring's getting all stuck on his mouth fingers. His,
Phalanges.
yeah, I don't know
What
what
would you
they
call
are.
those? Flaps?
Tentacles.
Kind of. They're like mini tentacles. Very strange.
Mouth tickles? Tented lip?
Trussels.
I don't know.
I prefer face fingers.
Face fingers.
Ticklers. They're just ticklers.
Mouth ticklers.
But then Randy is the proprietor, at least the operator of Diamonds Are Forever, and he just doesn't know what to make of Zoidberg.
For all
Why
his
don't you try
disillusionment,
these
he
on,
gets away
sir?
with whatever he wants.
Well,
That's
yeah.
how
You
it
know,
should,
I'm
too.
surprised that Diamonds Are Forever is going out of business since everybody has $300. You'd think more people
That's what I was
would go
wondering.
in and buy diamond rings
Maybe
or
they
jewelry
are
in general.
because they're out of stock or
Oh,
something.
maybe.
Or the supply has been depleted.
Maybe he's just a bad salesman.
Could be.
Another
that-
backstory will never get resolved.
So you remember that complete sidetrack we did about 15 minutes ago about how money was all made up and it's nothing? It's actually germane to the conversation because Zoidberg starts demonstrating this, where it's like all the stuff that people who are rich spend their money on as somebody who's not rich. He's like, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, rocks, shiny rocks that are owned by a small cartel of Hasidic Jews in Belgium, and they've manipulated the market, so now they pretend to make it valuable, and now they're selling the shitty ones and calling them chocolate diamonds. It's brilliant. It's brilliant marketing, but it's really just a completely manipulated cartel market. And that's Zoidberg's just like surprisingly prescient to like understand all of
Sees
this.
through the bullshit, man.
And it just gets better and better as we go along. I mean, Leela was very decisive early on about swimming with the whales. She loves sea life,
I would never swim with whales.
especially not a killer whale. It just seems dumb.
Well, Mushu was a
could kick
pygmy sperm whale.
Was that what it was?
That's what it said on the sign.
Is there such a thing?
Probably not. I don't know. I'm not a marine biologist.
Whale biologist.
Biologist.
If you were, you'd tell it like it is.
I'd call him like I sees him.
Whale biologist.
It's,
I love
could
he
have
just
had its own
hates,
Especially
he hates
Mushu.
the
Well, then
whale.
why'd you become a whale biologist? I don't know you well enough to tell you that. That was my favorite line.
what do you? I mean,
don't
what do
know
you
you
think
well
that
enough to tell
backstory
you
could
that.
be?
That's what I'm saying. We don't know about the mushroom war. We don't know
Yeah.
about this whale biologist.
Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like I could have been that guy because I did end up getting a degree in something I just do not give a shit about. Because I mean, like I'm casually interested, but have no passion for it because like, well, fuck, my scholarship's going to run out in 4 semesters. I probably ought to just see it through. You know, that was 20 years ago. And then I went back to college 2 more times, which is why zeroing out the global economy because money's made up would work really well in my favor.
Me too.
But you went to art school. That was just dumb to begin with.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to fight you on that one. I've come to terms with that.
I can't even. How much of
while
your
ago.
student loans did you spend on aluminum foil, Michelle?
None. That was my own pocket money.
Or did you just steal it 1 scrap at a time from the cafeteria? Just like,
No, it was a roll. It was a roll that I bought from like the dollar store, probably.
oh, that's not even the good stuff.
Not the $299.
I don't remember.
No, not the heavy duty 75 footer from
It
Reynolds.
wasn't Reynolds wrap.
Yeah. No. Just imagine, you'd probably still be wearing it if it was. It'd be like a holiday suit. I
did have a note that said 3 people clap at the whale show.
Was it only 3?
Yeah, they did. They cut to a shot of 3 people clapping at the very first whale show before the watch drops in.
I wrote. Go ahead. I have a note saying Kiff and Amy almost crabs because it respelled autocorrected crash when they start flapping. Like,
Crabs.
I mean, that paddle
Ryan
paddle
Lola.
plane looked like a lot of fun, but fuck, you would
no.
die.
It does not look fun. It looks like a lot of work.
I mean, they're not real, so.
Yeah, but I mean, why couldn't they
So many
stick
people
like an
crashed
engine?
and died trying to make those things.
It's
before
like a Wright
planes.
Brothers deal. It's
Yeah.
basically all those old timey footage things.
Old as new.
Did Leonardo da Vinci invent that? Was that one of his?
In Futurama.
But they talk about Amy's talking butt tattoos because they want to hear what her tattoo on her shoulder saw. But when
We know she has a horse on her butt.
And this is about the time when Scruffy shows up with his new hair.
which is pink, and I was thinking it was blue, so I fucked that up. But it was still the same shape as on the thing. When Mushu eats the watch, they're like, "Oh no, how do we get it out?" Zoidberg's whole
This is almost like the time that I ate your watch last year that Kiff gave you.
to induce vomiting. That was a solution everywhere it went.
What a Valentine's Day that was.
I mean, it's just so many good Zoidberg lines. And this is why I can't put that fucking game down because I'm so close to having Zoidberg in my pocket. The running ticker on Fry drinking the coffee was, it didn't make sense until the end, I guess. Like it kind of took me out of it when it happened, but I appreciated it at the end when you saw why. But did you get
Also, every time I'm at the zoo or something like that, I want to order whale size
Yeah.
something.
Wait, oh my God.
Starfish bucks.
I just, like the way that he held it, where it's like the whale's face, like
Yeah.
this thing is. I just did Kiff get her the watch because it was Valentine's Day?
No.
Was Zoidberg just
I don't.
That was like
referenced it?
the last time he ate the
Yeah.
watch that Kiff
was
got Amy
Valentine's
was
Day.
This is
Valentine's
a weird
Day.
coincidence then, since
Yeah.
tomorrow is actually Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, but Kiff just blows all his money on Amy.
Yes.
Yes.
Is she? I mean, because she could
She-
blow money
she blows her
anytime.
on herself.
On herself.
Mm-hmm.
So, money doesn't mean anything to her. It's all made up.
She also probably doesn't buy Kiff anything.
Yeah.
No.
Poor Kiff.
He gets her company.
Yeah.
It's a very it's a symbiotic relationship. It all works out. Everybody's happy at this point. The young professor, because the stem cells just completely de-age him, he just kind of gets it on with the punker chick.
Yeah.
It's a whole, and it's a pretty rapid romance. Like that's a
I mean, he rolls with some down and dirty crowds throughout the series. So
yeah. Well, he had Afro Amy a few weeks ago in a time travel or an alternate universe episode.
Yeah.
But it just accelerated very quickly. The trip to Elzar's was
Yeah.
so good.
It's another one where Zoidberg gets what he gets away with it.
Liver? Fish eggs? Where's the real food? Rich people eat garbage. Like they eat the garbage parts.
Which is true. I mean, but even like when Leela sneaks into the kitchen, there's like a peacock tail sticking out of the pot, and then you have the champagne tap, you have the dish soap tap, and you have a sausage tap. I would kill to have and in this, when it leaks, like a fully encased sausage comes out. But even if it was just a tap that like you could turn on and it would just, expel ground sausage like you would get on a KitchenAid mixer when the meat grinder part, that would be my most favorite thing in the entire world. I don't know how it could work without being disgusting and botulism inducing later on, but
Probably wouldn't work.
just imagine.
It'd need constantly used and or cleaned.
What if you could just mount it over your stove and you could like put on a pot of boiling water, just go and squirt it in, and it would just like boil immediately? Like, how good would that be? You've got the sous vide. Let's
do.
figure this out.
I got the sous vide.
There's got to be some way to make this happen. Like, how long can you just let dirty old sausage sit out at room temperature if you're going to cook it fully without being concerned about potential microbial infection?
Well, you also have the option of like a little smoky situation where they're in like a brine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll work this out on the food podcast.
Okay.
When we get around to doing that. Lots of big ideas here, Josh.
I have an idea for a podcast.
Yeah?
Because everybody's like on their phones and devices here. I think a good podcast would be a podcast where people just play games on their phones so that
And
people
don't
at
talk.
home who want to play games on their phones but
just
listen to a
imagine.
podcast can play
I mean,
along.
we're looking at our
I
notes.
understand. It's all
You don't-
digital notes now.
Yeah,
I've got a notebook here like some old crony
I'm
who
playing
lived in
games
an
in
era
my
where the
mind.
government gave him
The
$300.
guests usually bring notes on paper, but we do this every week.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would have a
Every
whole
week, and you
notebook.
sound so not bitter and worn down by it.
If I leave
week.
if
no,
I
we
leave
had
a
a- had a
piece
nice
of
2 weeks off.
paper, if I leave a piece of
takes
paper
so
lying
long,
around
huh?
the house, it could get turned into any number of things, including garbage based on the people I live with. So, my daughter might turn it into art, but then my notes are fucked. So I have to do it electronically and save it to the cloud.
Yeah, and if your
just
daughter
in
turns it
case.
into art, Michelle's going to walk around Chicago with it.
I kind of want to do reenactments. He's like, we could just send you on a megabus to Chicago and then
I took
drive
Megabus. That would be accurate.
drive behind it, and then as soon as you get out, like we could mug you.
No, I just want
No.
a TV show where you just tell these stories and then we have actors reenact exactly what happened.
Like drunk history.
Michelle history.
But so Leela unplugs the fish freezer, which seems surprisingly unsanitary given the the fact that it's a restaurant. I mean, it's just like it's literally just stocked with like loose fish.
It is Elzar's.
Well, true. I mean, they've had those cleanliness issues before. But Zoidberg flipping out about the foie gras and the caviar, like, I mean, that's the truth of it, though. But it's really like, the cooking philosophy behind it being, if it's the shittiest part of the animal and you can make it taste good, like that indicates the real skill of the chef.
Isn't for foie gras, like, don't they like force feed
There's a whole thing about
Force
it.
feed a
goose
duck and like
or whatever?
read it Mein Kampf and like just treat it really poorly for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, they're like
Apparently,
force-
it tastes delicious.
Well, you're eating like a swollen liver,
Yeah.
like a fatty, swollen goose liver,
They send the goose
which sounds
unsolicited
delicious
dick
to me.
pics.
But when you think about why, it's kind of sad.
It
But-
is certainly cruel. It's also delicious.
Any meat that you eat probably stemmed from some sort of
pain.
pain or
All right,
killing.
vegan
like,
Michelle.
no, I'm
here
not a
we go.
vegan. I will eat a whole pack of bacon this weekend for breakfast. I'm not vegan. I'm just saying.
On top of your art history class stories, can we hear about your cheat day stories starting next week too?
Sure.
I
I'll start
we're
writing them
heading- yeah,
down.
we're heading into a thing here because you're gonna have like the sugar hangover on Monday. You're
I
like,
don't.
"Oh,
I don't really eat sugar that much. I don't drink pop ever.
just wait. The cheat day cravings will come in, and then you'll be just.
I'm not like
Go
a.
ahead,
I
you
don't. I
like-
hate ice cream and I don't like chocolate.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that'll. It's really. I'm gonna need French fries.
your
That's
body
like I'm already sad that I haven't had
fried potatoes.
fried potatoes.
Yeah, but like that whole piece. I mean, like that's why one notable thing about going to Wyoming, I did have the Rocky Mountain oysters. I can't tell if it was those or every other part of the meal that made me feel sick that night. I think I'm going to blame it on the crawdad po' boy that I had.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was batting
Yeah.
1,000 on that one. It all
I mean,
could've
I've
been whatever,
had
but,
Rocky
like,
Mountain oysters before, and I thought they were pretty good. Didn't
It's-
make me sick. It just tasted like
fried meat.
Fried meat,
in,
yeah.
You know, like whatever. When you deep fry something and season it enough, it could literally be like somebody's fingers or whatever. It's just, it's good. It's fine.
balls.
Hobo
balls.
fingers.
Balls. For anyone who doesn't know what Rocky Mountain oysters are, they're balls.
But oysters. But Zoidberg again, you know, puncturing the illusion of high class society and everything. Be like, this is like I eat goose liver out of it. But the thing that I don't necessarily get, and maybe one of you has some insight into this, like, what's the difference? Because you used to be able to just go and buy goose liver at the grocery store. It was like a pate spread.
Braunschweiger.
Yeah, or liverwurst or whatever.
Liverwurst, yeah.
My grandma used to get
still
that all
can.
the time. I mean, no,
I still do occasionally.
I won't
I'm
eat
German.
it. I don't really like it.
What's the difference between that and, say, is it just like that? This is regular goose liver and that's fat goose liver?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I mean, I never really followed up on what those things mean. You've got a background in some of the culinary business, don't you, Josh?
A little bit. I've had a little foie gras, but you know,
No.
seen it. But
You've seen it?
I've seen
you
it.
used
I've
to,
served it.
You
I've
used to
been
work at a
server.
fucking French restaurant that was all ooh la la when they said robble robble all over the place. So what exactly was your experience with that?
I mean,
Was it real foie gras, or would it be like, well, this is just a bratwurst that we shaved up funny?
No, I mean it was. You know, they didn't take geese out in the back and shove them full of butter or whatever and slap them around. It came on a truck from people that did that. You know, like I didn't have to stop my serving duties to go abuse some ducks for a while or something.
Well,
Sorry,
they're
I gotta
like,
slap the ducks.
well, it's like veal. They're like suspended so they can't move to get rid of their fat.
Yeah.
And then they're force fed, like tubes shoved down their throat.
Which, on the one hand, sounds horribly cruel, and on the other, fucking fantastic.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's like...
Yep, those Rocky Mountain oysters, they're
No,
kicked like
I-
6 times before they're taken off, probably.
I mean more like from the Wall-E perspective of just being like, you know, just be lazy and morbidly obese in this floating chair and just suck milkshakes down through a straw ad nauseum while you're constantly mentally stimulated by the entertainment of your choosing. Like, it doesn't sound... I mean, it sounds disgusting, but it doesn't sound bad. I mean...
Do you think the American obesity epidemic is just like other countries fattening us up to eat us during the apocalypse?
It's possible. They'd have to get here first, though. And, like, it's, you know, Canada's not exactly super slim either. They invented poutine up there, so that's, they got a whole thing. But,
Gravy fries.
It always-
Even better than normal
Yeah,
fries.
with cheese.
and cheese.
Did,
we
you know-
stuff Americans with artificial flavors.
Did you ever read, I don't know what the actual history of it is in comic books or whatever, but the long shot character in the X-Men universe came from, like, the dimension or the world where, like, everybody was basically like the Wall-E people. Like, they had little robot chairs that they were basically fused to because they were just fat and morbidly obese and gross. Like, I feel like that's where we're headed anyway. Unless we get up and go to the gym at 4 a.m. But you'll learn. You'll see. It'll just be one day and you're like, why am I doing this to myself?
Well,
This is terrible.
it hasn't been too bad.
I just remembered this is terrible. A sudden epiphany will wash over you.
There are way easier ways to just mutilate myself. I mean, you could take up cutting or something. It's all, I mean, yeah, I know one's healthy and one's not healthy, and I don't mean to make light of it.
Don't
People
listen
have
to
done it.
Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't going to. I'll listen to Pete and just start cutting myself. That'll help me. That'll fix my life.
Everybody knows when you walk through either the front or the back door of this house, everything that comes out of my mouth is fucking worthless.
Hey, speaking of cutting yourselves,
Yeah.
then Bender cuts a hole through the roof and goes down to steal the cigar.
We don't have an award for guests bringing shit back on track, but you would have got it if we did.
I've noticed that some of your people are like they're unveiling their like deep personal anguish, and then you're like, and then there's that part where Fred bends over and farts or whatever.
Cartoons, fixing everything. Cartoons, hey.
And that's when I realized I'm a total lie. And then Zoidberg comes in, and he's like,
My biggest epiphany today is that with today being Mardi Gras, that's just one letter away from being Fart Tuesday.
I think tomorrow is Fart Wednesday because of Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah.
I think that turns Ash Wednesday into Ass Wednesday. Sorry, Catholics. I didn't mean it.
got him. Got all of the Catholics.
Fart Tuesday and Ass Wednesday are going to get written on my calendar every year now. So Bender does steal that cigar, but then he's like, I'm going to save this for the right moment, which is like you'd expect him to be like, I'm going to just immediate gratification take care of this now. He's like, oh no, I'm going to hang on to this.
And he hits that 3-pointer.
Oh, Fry's sitting there. Fry's on like his whatever 60-something
51.
51st cup of coffee. And he's like, why don't you just smoke it already? Puff, come on, let's go.
My notes autocorrected to Smutty and Earl. Go after Bender.
Oh, yeah. My new phone, doesn't know Leela is, and it kept putting lease instead of Leela.
He's like, you really like rental agreements. There's a leg mutant and a Chupa Libre cameo.
Yes.
As they're escaping, but when they cut back to the whale biologist, he goes, and the 5th reason whales kill is for the sheer fun of it. like, oh my God, I want to know really badly what the other 4 reasons are, and if there's even more. Like, we just hear the 5th, and then it's sort of derailed.
He could have had a spin-off. Whale biologist could have had his own spin-off series.
Yeah.
At least half a season.
But Leela shoves all the gross fish inside her suit, which had
You're
to
lumpy
be...
and you smell horrible.
I just calls them like I sees them.
If we're there, stepping back, the what's the name of the big robot cop? The
Earl.
URL.
Yeah. He's got he's got a couple good lines in this one, and the one is time to get off our fat cop asses and ride. After they realize what Bender's done when the security alarm goes off, right?
When Mushu, when Leela finally gets in the tank with Mushu, it eats her entire suit in addition to all of the dirty, gross fish. So then they cut to Zoidberg golfing.
These eggs taste horrible.
Thank you, golf slave.
I forgot about that line.
And he still hasn't spent $1 of his thing, which is a brilliant strategy, but it's just like complete idiot savant, expression where he's just
He's picking all of the worst rich people things to do anyway.
Yeah.
Except maybe
the better
eat, but
ones are passing laws that kill homeless people.
Or, creating shitty
he's not that
HelloFresh
rich.
instead of food swams.
Yeah.
It's great.
Sorry, I got to step back because I had one note about Fry's 51st and 52nd coffee. It says nap between coffee 51 and 52.
I didn't see that. How did they show
He drinks
that?
the coffee and then he's like, gotta
Time
take
for
a
a
nap
nap?
or something.
Coffee.
Need coffee. He also says, my coffee's shaking. I need non-shaking coffee.
How much coffee, what's your max limit that you've ever reached with it?
Oh, I've never tried. This is the thing. When I was in the high school, when I was a young man, once in a long while, I'd pull the all-nighters, and then we'd go to this little market down the road that had Jolt Cola. Anyone remember Jolt?
All the sugar and twice the caffeine.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd try to pound that once in a while, but not eat anything else. You know? And it just the worst feeling in the world.
And the shits.
Yeah, but you'd be awake for the first 2 or 3 periods, and then you could sleep through lunch and then try to forge through. But that much caffeine was troublesome. So
I don't know.
I'm not really a coffee guy, so I never went hard.
No? I don't ever try to go hard on the coffee. I think the most I ever had to caffeinate myself to stay awake was when I think I talked about this many episodes ago. I went to a show, my friend's boyfriend's show, and then the two of us left at like 3 a.m. and drove to Chicago, went to Days of the Dead horror convention all day, left at 6 p.m. and drove all the way back to Cleveland. I think I mentioned it once before.
Probably.
But it was like 48 hours of being awake and driving and then like meeting like...
Did you bring art with you to Chicago?
No, not that time.
Did you get autographs from the Troll 2 people or something?
No, I didn't get any autographs, but I met... did I? I did. Did I? I got a picture with Ace Frehley, Lita Ford, met
They were
Jason
at a horror
Mewes.
convention?
Yeah, Days of the Dead. Jason Mewes and
Wait,
Brian O'Halloran, who was Dante in Clerks.
Yeah. Are Ace Frehley and Lita Ford dead?
No.
Or do they just look it?
Neither. Lita Ford still looks great. I don't know if you've checked her out.
I'm trying to figure out the connection between...
Well, it's like, rock and roll music and yeah.
Okay.
It's
fine.
It's like many cons. Like
That's
what
fine.
does cosplay have to do with comic books really? Like I guess there's like a loose.
If you dress up like a comic book character,
What does
it's got a
Dexter?
lot to
What does
fucking do with
Dexter have to do with Comic-Con? Like or True Blood or any of that bullshit that you see
it.
at Comic-Con?
I guess
It's really just pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
it's all exhausting for me in the first place. But I just couldn't put the connection together between Lita Ford. I mean, I can kind of draw a dotted line from Ace Frehley to Lita Ford, like that makes sense. But then in the context of like Jason Mewes and Brian O'Halloran, it's
How many times do you think Lita Ford tried to pick up somebody by going, "Have you driven a Ford lately?"
I bet never.
yeah. I
I've
don't
talked about
think
how
she
she
needs
smells
witty
amazing
lines.
though. She does smell amazing.
That's an ongoing conversation about celebrity smells. Lita Ford,
Have
beautiful,
you smelled
and
a
wonderful.
Ford lately?
William Shatner,
We don't know.
well, Michelle knows.
No, I just got hit with his boot. Just smelled the boot.
So I noticed in the golf course scene when they pan over to the professor and I can't remember.
They don't
the
even name
female's
her. I don't
character
think. Just
name.
I called her the punker chick in my notes.
Yeah. She there's a little bit of weird foreshadowing because they're having a picnic and there's just tons of food. There's like a huge spread around.
I didn't notice that.
Like a huge spread.
Good eye.
Yeah.
Tricky.
That was more than a standard picnic there.
Yeah. But they
probably
weren't
didn't
focused
touch
on
any
the
of it.
food. They
No.
were focused on the
They were eating other things.
Ew.
stem cells off their faces.
Yeah. So when Leela gets eaten with the fish in it, that was the thing that I didn't understand, though, because I have to figure if you're a large sea predator, you probably eat a lot of rotten shit to begin with. Like, I don't think you're going to be picky about that kind of stuff. And it had only been festering for like a day. Like, I guess that was the other thing with like the amount of coffee drinking. Like, I have between 1 and 2 pots a day. So my tolerance is sky high and I'm killing myself. But with the timeline of this episode, they don't really explain how long it is that Fry's drinking the 100 cups of coffee in. Because I probably drink 100 cups of coffee in a week, and I've never had the results that he did.
Yeah, but Zoidberg tries all that stuff, so it's got to be over a couple of days, you'd think.
But I mean, we're talking 2 or 3 days tops.
I would say maybe that much tops.
Well, Leela goes to pay to swim with Mushu, and then he says, "Come back tomorrow."
And then they have to
And
do
then
the spoiled fish.
Then they do the spoiled. So it's
Maybe a
2
day.
days.
Yeah, 2 days.
Okay.
So 100 cup of coffee in 2 days, that's a lot.
yeah.
So Zoidberg's plan works, and Mushu barfs everything up, and that chunk is the watch.
So Kif dives in to the barf
Yeah.
to get the watch, and the what's his name, the whale biologist says like he's stealing aquarium property, and they arrest him. And he thinks they're talking about him trying to take the watch back that got barfed up by the whale.
But no.
No, he's covered in ambergris.
Precious ambergris.
Precious hamburgers?
I love that line.
So then that's when that's when we're revealed the Roseanne's World of Facts.
Isn't that ahead a little bit? Because they go to the reception And
Yes.
the hobos get zapped out by the gate. They can just tell that they're hobos and they aren't able to pass. But that's like Zoidberg gets
That's the
No,
end.
well, yeah, that's the end. Now you're skipping. You're skipping.
Oh, what happened to my notes
And
then?
we're missing another good Earl line because when they get told to go get Kip, he goes, better do what he says. He's a whale biologist.
I don't know what happened to my notes then, because I think it goes from there into Zoidberg does the one art, please. This is right at the beginning of the reception.
But because
I guess. Well, yeah. I guess I have some note about that. Yeah, because he's upset that it's not.
I know that
scratches.
mine are
Yeah.
not in order.
Okay, and then mom makes him feel like poor again because she's like blowing her nose on the $300 Nixon buck.
And then they must be talking about. Amy must be worried about Kip because then I have a note about Scruffy saying he knows
not
that
so bad.
it's shank or be shanked.
Shank or be
He makes sangria in the turlet. Well, at this point, Fry is on 90 cups of coffee. I was trying to figure out the old guy that's talking to Bender and the professor. Is that Judge Whitey? I was trying to figure out who it was, and maybe that's who it is.
it could have been. I don't know if it
he
was.
was just
actually.
the
Yeah.
very important, self-entitled, rich white guy who is very like that. I was like, has this character had me for? Is he supposed to be someone else? Because they did bring out Roseanne and then they had Mom, but now that I'm putting it together, I think it might have been Judge Whitey. But when they put Kip was on Commander Riker's Island.
I like that.
Which, I mean, it would have been nice if they brought Jonathan Frakes back for that. He's only had that one little cameo before when they did the episode with the Star Trek reenactments. But
Well, she.
but having Roseanne, because first I didn't know if it was really her, and it was.
It was.
But then, like, why her? And then I was like, of course her. Like, it makes perfect sense.
What was she doing around that time?
Tom
'Cause-
Arnold.
No, they were way divorced.
Were
by
they?
then.
Are you
oh,
sure?
Yeah.
Came out in
2000
2003.
Yeah, and Roseanne had to have been off the air by then, right?
I don't
I
know.
think that was about the time Roseanne was going on. I think it was on. Roseanne was on the air for a long time. Maybe
It
not until
was.
2003, but at least till 2000. So she was still somewhat relevant. Did she have a talk show or something, or was she on something? I know she ran for president of some independent party.
Yeah.
And now
She
she's
sang
like,
that national anthem.
yeah, I
poorly.
think that was in the 90s though.
That was during the show.
Sitcom, film, books, and talk show, 1987 to 2004. So she would have still been on TV at that point.
Okay.
See, I know my Roseanne.
The real
She's coming
Roseanne
back.
show was in 2003.
Hey.
I mean, I think she is probably I think she's admittedly kind of a severely mentally ill person. She has been very funny at times. She's clearly unhinged, but not always. Like sometimes she seems very reasonable and out of sense.
I think she's pretty smart, but also like, I don't know. She's one of those.
Unhinged.
I mean, she's. I don't. Would you describe her as a libertarian? Maybe she's a member and was the presidential candidate for some third party group based out of California, and she's now.
She owns a nut farm.
She publicly supported Donald Trump, but has said, like, I don't agree with everything he says, but he's the
But
president.
I'm rich and I'm white, so.
But she ran as a Democratic leaning presidential candidate for a third party. Like I don't know. I don't understand her, but I do think she's pretty smart.
Yeah.
But like she like there are episodes of Roseanne where they go into like racial stuff and like same-sex marriages. There's like the lesbian friends, and then like their mom's a lesbian, and like in real life her brother, I think it's her brother's gay and her sister's a lesbian, and they're both like, that was something that in her own life she knows, like, this is what Americans are like, this is what real people have to deal with, and that's what she kind of was basing Roseanne off of, was like, this is what real people deal with and this is what they want to see, like houses going to foreclosure and like failing businesses, like
winning the lottery
people,
and fake dying.
yeah, well,
We'll find out. Isn't the reboot happening like within a matter of weeks?
yeah, something like that. It's soon.
So it was weird. I mean, it worked because again, this is like it was one of those non sequiturs that just perfectly fit in this, and then to be like a random fact about some weird whale glandular secretion that is still used in perfumes because as a species, humans are disgusting and rub weird shit all over ourselves. But the professor and still unnamed punker chick are like making out under the Spider Queen dress. But then he starts aging.
The pajamas.
Were they the pajamas?
Yeah, the royal pajamas.
Okay. Just the fact that he immediately starts like melting back into old age was striking. But when she reveals her secret and pulls out her belly button ring and then just
I just need one of those.
Yeah.
I won't have to go to the gym anymore.
Personal trainer or magic piercing.
Do that in a second.
What did he say? You're as fat as the queen of the sea cows. But she takes it in stride. I mean, it's a little body shamey, but then she's just like, you're old and gross and wrinkly. So it all works out. I mean, these are all things that have
They're
been
in
said
love
about
and we
women.
never see her again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like he's like there to make mom jealous. Like that never even comes up while they're there. When Kif is recapping for Amy, it's like I managed to seek some out in the usual place. Does he just? He could. I mean, he's like a balloon man, so he could have like weird little sacks all over.
Yeah, that's probably it's
And what does mom say? She says something like, "Who smells like whale
Porpoise hork.
Porpoise hork."
Which that probably not a band name. Probably should be.
Porpoise hork. It probably already is.
Okay, I'll find out. The mansplaining scientists were those the same guys who had Seymour when they uncovered him in the buried
don't
Panucci's
remember.
pizza, and they when Fry was like, that's Seymour, and he did it. He was trying to die catching the 29 bus, and they're like, oh, the 29 bus. That answers all our questions. Were those the same guys?
I don't remember. I didn't pay enough attention.
I don't know. I mean, it all happened at the museum. There is there's at least one video clip called Porpoise Hork Live. It was uploaded to YouTube in 2006.
Oh.
So
Probably looks like it was recorded on a potato.
I don't know. We'll find out. It's by somebody named Tony Perkins.
Well, somebody's got a base.
He does.
Are they a Primus tribute band?
Yeah.
Oh, that's enough of that. Looks like it's at Speak in Tongues or the Beachland Ballroom, or it could be anywhere. I'll have to look up more Porpoise Hork stuff later.
I'm sure they have an album on SoundCloud.
Yeah, with more downloads than my bands. It's always the case. So the fact that Bender starts smoking that cigar, and there's even the signs are just like, was it like observe careful smoking or something, where it's just like they're expecting people to smoke there, but there's all this flammable tapestry and stuff all over the place. But it just immediately ignites. It's gorgeous.
It's good stuff. See, and I know you've bitched in prior episodes about Bender's ability
Magical
to
chest
magically just do
cavity.
things, but I think you gotta be into this whole idea that Bender is the Deus Machina of Futurama.
Well, okay, so now
He
that you
triggers
bring that up,
this ultimate event right here that brings everything together.
it's not always him though. I mean,
He is technically, he is a god.
yeah, if you're one of those middle mini people. But so, okay,
You were doing good until everyone died.
alternate outcome. Why place is on fire, everybody's dying. Bender is apparently immune to fire, not as a wooden robot, but as a metal robot. Why couldn't everybody just climb inside his metal cavity and then he could jump out to safety?
They can't all fit in there.
They can. It's TARDIS-like. We've established
Bunch of
this.
orphans.
Yeah, he's
fit in
fit an
there.
entire swimming pool full of kids in that.
That's true. But the event that needed to be set up was set
It's
up.
that goddamn cartoon logic. So it drives me crazy. But this is the point where Fry drinks his 100th cup of coffee.
Bing.
Exactly.
And immediately
He transcends.
Yeah, he becomes Quicksilver.
Yes.
and everything is moving super slow, and he's got super speed powers. I wish it worked like that. Because like every Thursday,
He saves Leela first. He's just like nonchalantly like doo, blows out her foot.
Yeah.
Picks her up, takes her outside, goes back in. You know,
I was going to say this episode didn't really have much of a focus on Fry and Lilo, which is sometimes refreshing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when
it's
watching,
getting a little weird.
But now that you mentioned that, that is kind of a sweet thing, I suppose. You know.
Mm-hmm. And Hermes and Dwayne are on fire. Their bamboo shoes are on fire.
That's what triggers the fire is the bamboo boogie boots.
Yeah.
I thought it
so
was.
he like
Bender's,
snaps him up and
No, they crash. Don't they crash through the wall and knock his cigar
Oh,
into the?
okay.
That's why that plot line. That's why all the plot lines come together.
Yes. Like 22 short
Yep.
films about Springfield. Beautiful. So the one part of that I didn't really understand is why did everybody's
I'm
like
sorry, I missed the cue, but
it's a real fart Tuesday around here.
it's almost Ass Wednesday.
Yeah, just a couple hours. Why did everybody's consciousness like it didn't make sense to me? Like, okay, Fry gets the super speed, so he's moving super fast, but nobody like. Wouldn't you think as he dropped people off outside, they'd recognize that they're outside? Or it literally happened so fast that all within the course of like a split second, to
Yeah, I
where
think
everyone came to at the same time.
I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just so fast.
They were saved by an mysterious orange
I mean,
blur.
have you ever drank 100 cups of coffee in 2 days?
No,
we
like
already know the
yeah,
answer.
like
is
4
no.
days.
So,
So
I
I just get the
to
jitters.
it, and you'll find out.
And you didn't. It's not like you didn't sleep. I don't think Fry really slept at all.
No.
Children listening to this at home, drink 100 cups of coffee in 2 days.
See what happens.
It goes well with your Tide Pods.
You know what? You know what though? The thing is, they counted.
2 lumps of Tide with your coffee.
And your IKEA challenge.
It's
a new one.
What's the IKEA?
What's the IKEA
Where
challenge?
they tell people to go make a fort and hide in an IKEA and stay in there overnight.
Oh.
Like kids are
my
doing
I've never
that.
heard of that.
Kids are stupid.
That's dumb. Don't they know that they have to assemble the furniture?
I mean,
Maybe not
you
in
just-
the IKEA. You could probably, I don't know.
I just take a nap on some of their beds. They're very comfortable. You could hide under it, and then like fuck hiding in the fort. Just be like, I'm gonna crash out on this hemness.
That's not part of the challenge.
I
This
don't-
is for like, I don't know, 12 to 17
When
year
that
olds.
whole Tide Pod thing happened, I was like, damn it, I actually have to go buy Tide Pods. Like right now, I need to go buy them. But I was afraid they were going to be like,
Card you.
like locked up. You got to go get an associate to buy your fucking laundry detergent. And then I got there and Target was like, nope, Tide Pods, 2 for $1, 10% off on Cartwheel. Like,
Can't you
Target
just
was
use
just
regular
trying to
laundry
exploit
detergent like a
that.
normal person?
no,
Why?
because I use too much and I waste
They're
it.
right
So I
next
buy
to
the pods.
Gatorade.
I just find getting up and out of bed in the morning challenging enough without having to accept other random challenges from dickheads on the internet. Like,
It was a joke.
Again,
no one ever actually
The
ate a Tide
age
Pod when it started.
requirements for this challenge, you are way too old.
I know.
Yeah, we're doing our own challenge now at this age. It's just to stay alive.
Don't die.
Try
My own body is trying to kill me.
not to
Through
let the sadness of this mortal
hypertension, the
coil
silent
drag
killer.
you down. I want Tommy and Aaron and Kathy. I nominate you guys to try the sadness on this mortal coil challenge. It's been drenching over me for years now. But
I just realized that like something's been bothering me about the count on Fry's cups though, because every time the cups were all counted incrementally, but it didn't matter what size they were. Like when
No,
he,
yeah. So
when
the
he got
whale
the whale
counted as
cup,
one, even
it was
though it was
probably
like
100.
huge.
Yeah, I mean that was
Just a cup.
easily like
Cup
25.
of coffee. What's a cup of coffee? A cup of coffee.
yeah,
8 ounces, 12.
and
Well,
not all
there's a
coffee
there's
is
a
the same.
venti and a whatever the not venti one is.
A
Or whale
venti and
size.
a bueno.
Grande,
It's a cup of coffee.
mermaid.
And not all coffee is the same. Come on.
That whale was probably $3, so it was whatever a $3 cup of coffee because that was 100 coffees.
It was shitty aquarium coffee.
Probably.
Maybe it was really watered down.
Probably.
Maybe they make it with salt water. I don't know. I think like I like that he got superpowers at number 100. I enjoyed it, but I feel like the counting became arbitrary. Like they had to do it as a device to show a trigger for the action to happen, but it really was probably more like 120 cups than 100.
I was afraid he wasn't going to get there.
I mean, things don't always work out for Fry. So.
You know who they worked out for, though?
Zoidberg.
Yes.
Because he got to feed all of his friends delicious turkey hot dogs.
Gobble wieners.
Gobble wieners. Yes. I like that.
I'll have 4. And Leela goes, me too.
That's a whole package. Or is it? I forget. I always get the numbers mixed up.
Well, like, Zoidberg's got a giant pack, and he uses his claw to snip it open, and he just dumps them all on a grill. It's like 100 hot dogs, just boom.
They should have been roasting the hot dogs on the burning building.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot easier, probably hotter, and you get all the extra, like, spider silk fumes on them.
Fry's power wears out pretty quick. Right? I mean, he's able to enjoy the hot dogs at real people time.
It probably brought him down. Yeah. You know, he started eating the hot dogs, and then it would just...
Which is why I don't think he won in this episode. I think we don't see the after
he saved
effects,
everyone's life.
Yeah, he got the knowledge that he did, or did he? Maybe he just
get,
dissociated and
no
didn't
one
even
really
realize
thanked
it.
him, did they?
They didn't know it was him. It was just a
Exactly, it was
mysterious
too
orange
fast.
blur.
And Bender doesn't come out on top of this because he ends up getting arrested.
Well, he says, what about my story? I didn't really. I just kind of petered out. And then he gets caught.
Strange note there. He's eating watermelon in that last shot. Like, I've never seen
Bender
him enjoy any fruit ever. And he's holding a watermelon. They're talking about turkey hot dogs.
Well,
and
if
the
you're
boy's got a
going to be
watermelon.
grilling hot dogs, you need to have some kind of watermelon or
It just
other
didn't fit
predominantly
in my-
water-based fruit available, right?
Like, for my 30th viewing of that episode, I was like, well, he's got food in his hand. It's obviously a hot dog. And then I looked, and it's a watermelon. And he's eaten a substantial amount of it too. Like,
So you're not even bothered by the fact that it's a fucking robot eating food.
Well, his thing is he needs
He drinks
the
alcohol. Maybe it was like a vodka-soaked watermelon.
and he's a terrible chef.
Yeah,
He doesn't get food, but yet he's clearly enjoyed a fair amount of watermelon.
right. I mean, all in all, very solid episode.
I think so.
Are the next two that we're going to come across? Oh, we're coming up on your least favorite episode, aren't
Correct. And the next episode is I like it a lot.
we? So we got a strongy and a weakie coming up.
Well, no, I think all 3 of them are strong.
But you
Or
don't-
I mean, like starting like this episode, like it's this one and then 2 more. They're all strong episodes.
He just
last
doesn't
one,
like Robot Devil.
the Robot Devil in it.
I think
and
it's a great
singing,
episode.
and I hate it.
Oh, this is good.
It's a
I can be
musical
tiebreaker.
episode.
You've been practicing for Fart Tuesday. That was your butt trombone. Oh dear.
Josh paid $9.99 for that
I
app.
did. I've been trying to find a place to put that in the whole episode. Whoa, why did it play twice? That's weird. I got mugged outside of Chicago with my art. Money is meaningless.
I went to music school in Boston and watched TV.
That gets like 3, actually.
Oh boy. Well, we made it through. This is a longie. We had a lot of digression. It's philosophy, food talk, butt talk.
Butt talk.
But that was your mini episode.
No, Fart Tuesday and Ass
Okay.
Wednesday.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, I think we should commemorate that every year now.
Yep.
Well, so thanks for being on the show, Josh. It's great to have you.
thanks
I hope
for
you
having
feel fulfilled since you asked to do this like a year ago.
This is great. This is great.
Where can people find you on the internet, or is there anything that you'd like to plug in addition to that?
You can type Joshua Jesty in the Google search bar. I think most of the things that come up are pretty good. Besides that,
He's the
minor
7th person that comes up on Google. 7th Josh Jesse.
That's
ever since they repealed that net neutrality, I've been going down.
that's Jesty, Jesty, not Chesty, Chesty.
Not Chesty or Guesty.
If you Google Joshua Chesty, it's a whole new world. But yeah, you do music stuff
I do music
pretty
stuff.
prolifically too.
I'm getting back to it. I'm putting out some singles on the Spotify.
Oh,
this
God.
year. This will be a year of a bunch of singles.
Oh no.
Because I can't make up my mind as to what. I don't have a musical statement to say, so I'm just going to put out one thing at a time.
We like non sequiturs.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just like this episode.
Yeah. It's
And
wonderful.
Maybe at one point it'll all come together.
Yay.
It'll be, just nobody listen. Release like a cover of 4 minutes and 38 seconds of silence. That whole was it John Cage number?
Yeah.
Just do one of those.
Well, but then I have to pay performing rights royalties.
No,
too.
you don't. Call it something else. Make it 4 minutes and 36 seconds. or if it's a single, 3 minutes and 33 seconds. It'll be perfect.
No one will make it through that, though. We don't have the attention span for that.
Wasn't that? Didn't somebody game Spotify by creating like a super long track of just silence and they just
It was
play it
called
in the background?
Sleepify, and it was some band that, it was not just one track. It was a whole record of tracks
Or just
because you get paid per track. So people are supposed to put it on while they raised enough money to do their tour, and we've never heard from them since. So, I mean, their biggest contribution was nothing.
That's a real soul cracker situation. Well, okay. On that note, hopefully we'll have you back soon before we run out of episodes to do.
At the very least, have me show up so I can sing the popular Slut Club theme. That's my,
I didn't know that was a thing.
That's-
Popular Slut Club.
that's my other favorite Futurama.
Let's
thing.
get him on the spreadsheet. I don't know what
just
that
the
is, but
3
it sounds
seconds
great.
that airs. That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Perfect.
And a band that I perform in is going to be playing with Josh.
That's true. Will this
Really?
episode come out? in
Yeah, it
time?
will, because it will come out that Wednesday before we play. So
nice.
February
Where are you playing
24th
February
at
24th.
the Happy Dog West in Cleveland, Ohio.
Exactly. It's gonna be the best anti-Bright Winter Fest you've ever seen.
Cool.
Tease Box, Joshua Jesty.
Yeah,
and the
nothing else
Darkest
is going on that night. Don't bother checking anyone.
You can go stand in the
Seriously,
cold.
seriously though, who wants to go stand in line for a beer for 5 hours in like 10-degree weather? Nobody. Just fucking go to Happy Dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do something that makes sense, you goddamn hipster. I'm judging you.
I love it. You're being angrier than I am.
I'm judging you right now. I'm like channeling Pete. Like, fuck you for wanting to go stand outside in the cold. You know what? You're an idiot.
You know what
Fight
my
me.
favorite thing about Bright Winter was last year is there was somebody that pulled up with a hot chocolate truck, and like last year was when the weather was like 50 or
Was
60
it last
degrees
year or
out.
the year
Yeah.
before?
I went.
No,
I didn't
last.
go last year, but I went the year before. It was the first and only time I went, and I was like, "This is just a bunch of bullshit. Why did I come to this?"
It does have the feeling of like there's too much going on, and I can't see
You
any
can't
of
get
it.
a beer.
And you can't get a beer, but there was a hot chocolate truck on a 60-degree day, and the guy was just like, "I put my whole savings in this, and it was supposed to be cold. I'm gonna lose the house now." Just watching him was like the most entertaining.
Oh man.
Oh, hubris.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, coming out to the Happy Dog. More Rogers, Tease Box, Joshua Jesty, Darkest Timeline.
So you can go to the Happy Dog and see Teasebox and Joshua Jesty and the Darkest Timeline. You can go to Bright Winter Fest. This is not an endorsement of that event, just saying it's happening. Or you can do what I'm probably going to do and sit at home and drink on your couch.
You gonna drink on my couch?
Yeah, you won't be there.
It's true. keep it warm for me, I guess.
We can be found online at slurmcast.com. All of our episodes are there, including links to our TeePublic shop. We can be emailed at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. You can send us voicemails, text messages, multimedia message service messages, that's pictures and whatnot, to 216-438-1077.
That is correct.
We're on Twitter and Instagram at slurmcast.pod. We're on Facebook, and you can rate and review us on iTunes, which would be awesome. Let's set a goal. We have like 30-something reviews.
We haven't had a review since May.
Yeah, let's get
Come
it.
on.
Let's get it up to 50. Just write 2 or 3 more a person. Stuff that ballot box. Yeah.
Hey.
Just do it for us for an Ass Wednesday gift. And
Takes
I
5 seconds. It's so easy to do. You
Yeah.
can literally, as you're listening to this episode right now,
One
look at your
star,
phone.
1 star, 1 star.
Look at your phone, if you don't have it open, tap your podcast app. I'm talking to you iPhone users. I don't know what the fuck Google does. I have no idea how this works. Hit shows, scroll through your podcast till you find us. Tap it. You can just scroll down. It's literally right there.
I think you should browbeat our audience
Man.
and
Right
giving us
now-
reviews more often.
Michelle's getting angry about everything now.
You know what? This is the new me.
Listen,
This is her 100 cups of coffee.
Right now we have 38 ratings.
Oh, you can totally get us to 50
And
with
you know
hardly
what?
any effort.
I think some of these were repeat people.
That's okay.
So
It's like voting.
Get
You
us
do it
up
often and
over.
early.
50's the minimum. Get us over
Do
50.
it often and have Russia do it for you. What?
We should hire the Russians to write reviews for us on iTunes.
if we get 50 reviews within the next 3 weeks, I will not wear pants to the next podcast taping.
And Michelle will tell another fascinating art school story.
I mean,
She'll probably do that anyway.
I was going to say, I'll probably do that anyway, but let's give them a little incentive.
Here we go. Thanks for listening. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.